Alrighty, so the masterclasses, we're very excited about them because they're brand new for us. It's something that we've been working away on behind the scenes for over a year now. Been working with 3 incredible jewelers who are masters in their crafts to bring something kind of more advanced, more high level. So we're gradually kind of getting higher and higher, I suppose, as our students are learning and progressing. And so this is really the next level. And they're aimed at people who I had in mind when we created them were students who've completed the advanced jewelry diploma. So for anyone who doesn't know, who's on the call, we have 3 kind of progressive diplomas. We also have a metal clay one, which is a bit separate, but we have a 1-year diploma in silver jewelry, which is kind of beginner to intermediate level. We have the fine jewelry diploma, which is intermediate to advanced, and we have the advanced diploma, which is a whole year of kind of advanced work. And this was made for people after that. However, there may be jewelers that are kind of at that level but haven't completed those programs who would also be great to take part. And potentially some people who've done the fine may, if they've done a few other bits and pieces, may be suitable for these projects as well. So I will kind of, yeah, more will be revealed as we go along. But it's all about people looking to progress. It's project-based learning. So we'll be working through specific projects, but also you'll be able to go off and explore what you want to do with those projects once you've got the hang of them. So a big welcome, anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Jessica Rose. I started Jewellers Academy. Before that, I started London Jewelry School when I was 19, which was a long, long time ago. So I've been working in jewelry training forever. I don't even know how long now, nearly 20 years, I think. But ever since I started working, really, and we just are really passionate about teaching people to make jewelry in person and online through community-based learning. We are a community as well for anyone new to Jewellers Academy, and we just really want everyone to feel really welcome in everything that we do. And what I love and I think is amazing about the masterclasses is there's such a clear progression on how to get there. So I was actually chatting with someone in the community the other day, and they were like, this isn't for me right now, but I just love seeing how this is something I could get to. And it's very kind of clear how to get there. So we just love taking people from absolute basics all the way through to really advanced because it's so rewarding, so exciting. And with progressive learning, there's so much we can achieve. So this is really for anyone looking for a new challenge and loves stone setting like we do and knows how to do stone setting and has got quite a lot of stone setting under their belt, but is ready to really progress to something more advanced. And not only all of that, but wants to do it in a group together because it's always better to do stuff together, we think. So in the session today, I'll be looking at what the Jewelry Masterclasses are, be sharing a bit about the level of support because anyone who's done a diploma program, it is a different level of support. It's not as involved, but there's still plenty of support for people. We'll be running through the projects, which is maybe the most exciting bit. So I can clarify exactly what's going to be covered, the tuition involved, and also answering any questions if anyone has any. So what are the masterclasses? They are what they sound like. They are individual project-based classes. Will be focusing in on one particular skill. So we've picked 3 tutors for the year. We've picked 3 masterclasses, and you'll be spending roughly 2 months doing each one. So the first one kicks off on the 1st of October and it finishes around the 1st of December. So it's confusing. It sounds like 3 months. It's 2 months. Took me a long time to work out that is 2 months, even though there's 3 months in there. So all of them are roughly 2 months. And in those 2 months, there are going to be 3 live sessions with the tutor. So in this case, it will be Anelia doing the first ones. So we have one in the first week or so, one around the middle and one at the end. And these are going to be really instrumental in helping you if you make any mistakes, when we all make mistakes, because when we're doing these kind of projects, there's going to be a lot that can go wrong. I mean, even the tutors, when they're preparing them themselves, were like, I've had to make it again. I've had to have another go because they are that advanced in terms of what they're doing. But I don't want to scare you. You know, if you're at that level, it's going to be a really lovely challenge. And I think you'll know from looking at them if it's what you're kind of ready for next. So the first one starts in October. runs through to sort of early December. Then we have a break over Christmas. The next one's starting in February, so you get January off to relax or run your business or do all the other things you probably have to do in life. So the next one is February to around April time, and then the final one is from May to around July. So you have 2 months per class, and the reason why you have so long per class is, one, they're much more detailed than our usual classes. Some of these classes have like 20 videos in, so it's going to take you a while to get through them all. But also there's lots of projects within each one, or there's at least 2 and sometimes 3 projects, and those pieces will take days if not weeks to make because of, you know, the level of technique involved. So we want to give you plenty of time to kind of delve in and explore one particular area and master it. So that is kind of the plan. So I'm going to walk through the 3 different projects now and talk a bit about them, 3 different masterclasses. So the first one is Decorative Collets, which is with Anelia Kuprina. Anyone who doesn't know Anelia, I'll share a bit more about her later, but she is an incredible jeweler. She's a fine jeweler. She's done lots of classes for us, so lots of you guys may have already done some classes with her. She's very detailed, very experienced, and just very lovely at sharing her knowledge. So she's really excited for you guys to get started with this one. And there are 3 projects within this course. So like I said, the class runs from October to December, which is approximately 2 months, and you've got the 3 live sessions. And what I haven't mentioned yet is you'll also be in a Facebook group. So you'll be in a Facebook group with everyone else who's doing the course at the same time. So it'll be a small group. Usually advanced classes are a smaller group because there's only so many people that do training to that level. And what's lovely about the Facebook group is, you know, again, I see some faces here who will know about our Facebook groups, but it's a place where you can chat to each other, you can share what's going on in the course, you can share like the day that you're starting, you can share what things have gone wrong, you can share tips and see other people's tips. You can obviously ask questions if you get stuck with anything. So it's just another level of support and community that's kind of embedded into the course. And we just notice there's this energy inside the groups when you're doing the same thing at the same time. It's just really lovely to be able to sort of cheer each other on and support each other, especially with things like this, where there's not going to be many people in the world doing this specific type of training at the same time as you. So it's a really kind of niche, lovely space to be in. So the first project is the geometric hexagon ring. I actually have them here. You probably can't see them, they're so tiny, but they're so beautiful and shiny. Probably better to look in the picture because it's much bigger. But yes, so this is the first decorative collet. So the idea behind this masterclass is, if you already know how to do collet setting, and we recommend anyone taking this course is confident with collet setting in round and shaped stones, then it's going to be looking at how we can create them more decoratively. So piercing out different designs from collets. So with the hexagon design, we went for something geometric because it's already quite a complex design and it sort of fits in with the design of the ring. So Anelia will show you how to make the collets, how to do scoring, soldering, how to pierce out the different sections and make them as even as possible, you know, filing, polishing, all of that, and also how to set the stone, because setting a hexagon is pretty challenging. It's one of the most challenging shapes to set. You've got to get all those corners just right. So she's going to guide you through step by step in all of that. And like most of the projects, I'd recommend doing it in silver first. But of course, if you get commissions or if you are taking it to collection or something like that, this would be the kind of thing you might want to make in gold, and it just looks so beautiful. With all the projects, we recommend it's a good idea to try and do it the way that Anelia does it, but then of course you can absolutely do your own designs. Nothing is being marked, so it's entirely up to you what you actually make, but we just know that it's always quite good to follow the step-by-step first time round and then go off into it. And I do recommend that you aim to make these pieces definitely more than once, because I know I had to go at some of them and I had to make them quite a few times before I didn't make enough mistakes that it just totally fell apart type thing. So depends on your skill level before you start, but it does take practice. That's why they're advanced. The next project are the Marquise earrings. So again, There's some challenges with this one because it's a pair, so we want to make sure they match. Anelia actually shows in the video these, you can see in the smaller picture, these this love heart design, but she shares with you these templates with 4 or 5 different designs to choose from. There's also a section in the template to create your own design, and she talks about how you can do that and measuring it out and getting it kind of laid out on your design. And then, of course, piercing it out, creating the seat for the stone. She doesn't show you how to set these ones, the rest of the collets, because once you know how to collet set, it's quite boring to watch that many collet sets as they take a long time. That she's shown you the hexagon, which is the hardest one, and it's the same process. It's, you know, the filing, the pushing over, the filing, the pushing over, and that's something that we would imagine that you have covered plenty of times before. So, and you know, you can obviously do these as drop down, as studs, whatever you like. They don't even have to be earrings. That could be part of a ring, part of a pendant. There's so much you can do with the designs. And then finally, and I love this one, is the domed pendant. So this is a different take on a round collet. So if you're doing a round collet for a necklace, often that, and it's a big stone, that can be quite clunky and uncomfortable. So a dome is a really beautiful alternative. And scoring out a design onto a dome is quite challenging. This is the most complex scoring element, because obviously if you just print out something and put it on a dome, it will be distorted. So it's about how you can get, and Anelia kind of takes you through step by step using dividers, how you can mark out all your designs, piercing, and then again looking at finishing up for that piece. So those are the 3 projects, and you can probably see why you need a couple of months now to work through them and have a go at them. But you know, like me and Anna have had a chat about this already for the podcast, and we were talking earlier about, you know, you work through these, but then you could do so much with them. This could be part of a ring, and maybe there could be shoulders with like pave setting or, you know, other things. So you're really taking your jewelry to a very kind of handmade fine art kind of end of the piece, where people, this will take days to make usually, and if you're doing commission, that's the kind of thing that you're looking for. So that's project number 1. This is Anelia.
Can I just
Anelia?
quickly just jump in, because there's a question from Wendy about whether she uses a hexagon collet block. She doesn't.
No, she does not. You can, and it wouldn't hurt to do it like right at the end, but how she shows you how to do it, you don't need the collet block. So it's like the template for cutting out, I don't know why I'm doing this. This is what it looks like in my head. The template for cutting it out, scoring, and then bending round. So you don't need a hexagon collet block. Although, if you need an excuse to get one, you can always get one because they're a lot of fun. Yeah, so no, she doesn't use that for creating it, but you can always use it to like reshape right at the end. I don't think she does. I need to double check if she used it at all, but I know that you don't need to, and I'm pretty sure that she didn't.
I don't think she does. I was watching it yesterday. I don't think she does.
No, I don't think she does either. So, but you definitely don't need one, Wendy, unless you do because you want one, and then it's okay. But yeah, thank you for the question. And of course, you know, again with the masterclasses, because they're not marked, you know, for anyone who's done a diploma, if you do something different, if you have a go at the hexagon and you're like, actually, I don't like it, I want to do a pair, like, and you can take it wherever you want. It's all about training and learning different things, and you know, and making it your own, I suppose. Oh, Wendy has one and she hasn't used it. Oh, well, I don't think it's gonna hurt to have one. It could be helpful. You never know. Lots of things can go wrong with these many stage projects. So sometimes you might just need to, you know, give it a bit of a bash. But I think with now that I'm remembering it, because we filmed it, with the hexagon one, she pierces it out. She pierces it out. So obviously once you've pierced, you're not going to want to hit anything. But all of that good fun is for you to explore when you're making it. So Anelia, just to share a little bit about her, that's one of her pieces. She's just an amazing jeweler. She worked in the Hatton Garden workshops for many years, so she's got a real wealth of experience and just very technical. All of her pieces just look perfect. I mean, she wouldn't say that, but to human who's not looking with a really close magnifying glass, you know, and you see it in the projects that she does. And like I mentioned before, she's just incredibly generous with her knowledge. She wants to share everything with other people. And I know that she'll be really excited for people to join the class and to see how they're getting on with their projects and to help you troubleshoot if there are any challenges. So she's going to be a wonderful person to kick us off. Brilliant. So masterclass number two. So we've done all of our collet setting. We've immersed ourselves in piercing and collets and stones and big juicy stones. And then Christmas has happened and we've had a break. And we're coming back and it's something totally different because we are coming back to fishtail setting with Scott McIntyre. And Scott is an incredible stone setter. He is probably one of the best stone setting teachers I've ever experienced. And I've had in-person classes with him, as well as obviously seeing him do online stuff. And he just has such an accessible teaching style. So this is working with smaller stones. I think these are 3 mil. You could do it in 2 mil. So it's a totally different thing, but it's a really beautiful setting to learn. So we do recommend for this class that you've done some channel setting before, and also that you've had a go at pave setting so that you're used to working with the smaller stones and using the gravers and bits and pieces like that. This is the next step on from that kind of thing. So if you've done the advanced diploma, you will have done all of that. But you know, other jewelers may have done it in other ways. So there's 2 projects that Scott walks us through. The first one is the bar pendant. So this is really just to get you learning the technique of fishtail setting. So you'll set these 5 stones in a pendant that's like a bar necklace, and it's learning the different stages of drilling out the holes, creating the settings for the seat, you know, working with each stone individually, measuring, all of those good fun things, and using the gravers to create those beautiful kind of fishtails. This is one of the most popular stone setting styles around at the moment. It's really used a lot in kind of wedding, engagement ring jewelry. It's used a lot in eternity bands, but it's also used for things like pendants and earrings and all sorts of things. So we start off with the simpler project, which is the straight line fishtail, and then we move on to the halo fishtail pendant. And this is, as you can see in the picture, these have not been professionally photographed yet, so they are screenshots from the video, which you can probably see is slightly different to the one before, but you can get the idea of the project. So it's working in a circle. So you have a central kind of rub over stone in the middle, and then you're creating the fishtail setting around the outside, or one of these is also a castle setting, so it kind of shows different variations. And the difference with this is obviously when you're working in a circle that's flat on like that, you've got the inner circle and the outer circle, and the inner circle's smaller and the outer circle's bigger, and your stones need to be set from both sides. So Scott kind of talks us through how we mark that out without too much maths, how we use the dividers to get a really good spacing, and then how we create that accurate kind of halo around the edge. And again, this is why we really recommend you've done some of this before, because it's really kind of moving on from there. So a real nice exploration in fishtail. And again, like Anelia's, you can do whatever you want with this once you know how to do fishtail. You can make an eternity band. You could, you know, take the middle stone out and just have a circle pendant. I mean, the world is kind of your oyster in terms of your design and your signature style and where you would take these different setting techniques. So this is your tutor. He probably doesn't need an introduction, but just in case anyone doesn't know Scott, he is a master stone setter. He's very down to earth. He's, you know, makes teaching and learning stone setting very accessible. You can see one of his pieces there, which is just ridiculous in a way. Like he set all those stones. He made that and then he set that. I mean, I just don't even understand. But very, very experienced, but also just loves passing on the knowledge. And anyone who's been to any of his live calls, they're a good laugh as well. He says things in a way that just stay in your brain, because he kind of makes a bit of a joke out of things, and you're like, oh, okay, I remember that. Like when I'm making stuff, I often think of his little phrases. It's the same with Stelios, who was one of our other teachers. You know, certain tutors, it just kind of stays in your brain. You're like, oh, I remember that. So Again, he'll love to come along to the live sessions and help you guys with any troubleshooting or where to take things next, and just general kind of mentoring and support as you go through the course. You'll always learn new stuff in the live sessions, even if you don't have any questions. We say always come along, because we end up chatting jewelry, and invariably you'll learn something in the hour or so that we're on live. Alrighty, on to class number 3, which is make a tiara wedding band with the lovely April Dace. So this is the first course we've actually filmed with April. So most of you guys probably won't know her very well in the community yet, but she is another incredible jeweler, another very giving and encouraging person. And I would say this class is the most challenging, which is why we've left it right until the end. It's also a very in-depth class. But I wanted to learn this. So I said, April, come and teach it, and then we'll all learn it together, because who doesn't love a tiara wedding band? They're very popular, very commercial, but also it just includes a lot of advanced skills, which is going to be really exciting to learn about. So what is a tiara wedding band? It's, as you can see in the picture here, it's a wedding band that goes underneath an engagement ring. So we need to consider the engagement ring in the shape of that above, which April talks about in detail. And it's usually 3 or 5, or it could even be 7 settings below. And I'll talk through the different projects that April is going to teach on this one. So the first one, which is the hardest, is the 5-stone tiara claw setting. So you can see a couple of examples here. So April's done a baby pear setting in the middle, tiny baby pear, and then 2 rounds either side. There's lots of different variations that you could do on this. And she talks you through from the very beginning in terms of shaping the band, creating the settings. You're not going to be creating each setting individually. It's made out of one band, and you're kind of carving it out and drilling, soldering, all the good stuff, and then setting those claw stones. We recommend for this class that you already know and feel confident. If I was to say to make a band with 3 claw settings from scratch, that you could do that, because we're going up to 5, which doesn't sound like a lot more, but it is more. And they're also very small. So if you can do 3 in a row, like on a straight band, that's the minimum I would recommend that you feel confident doing before taking on this project. We're not making the engagement ring in this class, because it's like a simple solitaire, which we would expect you'd already had plenty of time to do. And also we just want to focus on those tiara bands. So this is the first one, which is the 5 claw setting. And then we wanted to show a different variation. So this is a 3-stone collet tiara band. So a lot of this is going to be about spacing and how to put things together and how to create the structure of the ring. Like there's a slight bend in the ring, and then making sure, doing a trilogy is actually quite challenging, because we want symmetry, we want it all to work together. It needs to fit nicely on the hand, and also it needs to fit nicely underneath the central stone at the top. So with this one, we are working with, or April shows it with, cast collets, but that's just to save time and just so you don't have to watch her hand make 3 collets, because we assume you've kind of done the collet setting. So assuming you know how to make up 3 pair collets, we go from that point, or you can use cast settings and work out, the soldering, the shaping of the band, the setting, all those bits and pieces. So I think that's all of it. So this is April. She's lovely, and she have a look at her website. She just has incredible work. It's just one of her pieces. So this is like a ultra supersonic tiara band. But again, it does kind of show where you can take things once you've started learning these techniques. It just really opens up different ideas. It will improve your skill level, and I think, again, like all the courses, help you decide what things you really want to focus on next and what other things you really maybe don't want to focus on next. But I've been here while they've been filming all of them, and they're just all incredible courses that I'm very proud of and think you guys will absolutely love. Just a word on the tools and materials. If you've done the 3 diplomas or a similar level, you will most likely have like 99% of everything you need. So some of the things that you're going to need are gravers for the fishtail setting. So hopefully you'll have some gravers already. If you've done any sort of star setting or castle or pave, you'll probably be familiar with and have those gravers. A rolling mill is very helpful for the tiara bands. We don't use it loads, but having access to one, even just for that little bit, is going to make your life a lot easier. And the rest is mostly just hand tools, stone setting tools, nothing crazy. So it's probably what you're already going to have in your workshop. We are putting together a list. So as soon as we have that, we'll send it out. But my prediction is there won't be a lot you need to get. There might be one or two things that you want to get because you've seen the tutors use and you think, oh, that makes life easier. But it's not compulsory at all. Materials wise, I'd recommend working in silver because we're practicing, we're learning. And so again, there's not going to be a huge outlay for materials. You can also work with CZs and stuff like that while you're learning. And then once you've mastered the technique and you're ready to these are the kind of things you would make in gold. But I would recommend not practicing in gold because we all know gold is super expensive, especially at the moment. So it's something that you can move on to afterwards. So a little bit on how you will learn. You'll have the in-depth video lessons. So they're all professionally filmed from lots of different angles. Definitely check out the trailer if you haven't already to get an idea around that. You will have lifetime access to those. So as soon as they're released, they'll be yours to keep for as long as you like and come back to. And there'll be a full set of downloadable course notes as well. So that's the main chunk of your learning. Everything is released in one go, so you can work your way through it. It is project-based, so you might choose to watch one project, work on it, and then go on to the next one. But it will be all labeled and kind of, put into different bite-sized chunks, so you can sort of choose what you want to work on when. But it is a class that goes from start to finish, so I recommend going in that order, at least the first time round. Then in terms of your technical making support, as I've mentioned, there's 3 live Zooms with the course tutor. We predict it will be a smaller group, so it will be a really intimate space to be able to chat with the tutor and also meet up with your fellow classmates. And there will be replays available. So if you can't make the times, we try and do a mixture of times to support different time zones. Don't worry, you can always ask a question ahead of time and watch them afterwards, and you'll have access to those recordings. And then, of course, I mentioned the Facebook group, which is going to be staffed by Jewellers Academy, is going to be managed by the wonderful Jess, who is here today. Hi, Jess, give us a wave. Homebird Jewelry. Jess has done all 3 diplomas and is just an incredibly lovely and talented jeweler. So she is going to be inside the Facebook group, kind of supporting everyone on the course and also liaising with the mentors if there are any sort of technical questions that we need answered. And we'll do things like weekly check-ins in there to prompt you and encourage you guys to share how you're getting on. You can ask questions anytime and have support from the community who are doing the course. So I think I talked through this as we went, but just a quick recap. And the reason why we talk about this so much is because we really want it to be the right course for you if you sign up. We don't want people to sign up and feel disappointed because it's not the right level. So this course, as I said, is a recommend follow on from the advanced diploma, but you could also follow on from the fine diploma. I wouldn't recommend following on from the silver diploma. It's just too much of a leap and there's too many different skills that haven't been covered and we won't be covering them. So, it's just a little bit too much for most people. So we would like you to be confident in collet setting in round and shaped stones, creating the collet and setting the stone, because obviously we're doing decorative collets, so we need a good foundation to kind of progress on from. For the second masterclass, like I mentioned, we want you to have tried castle and pave stone setting techniques before and just feel like you've got basic confidence in working with those techniques. And for the final one, which is the most challenging, that you can confidently make and set a 3-stone claw set ring from scratch. Because again, with those like many multiple solder joins, working with the band and the stone and all those kind of things, then I think you'll be ready for the next stage. All right, let's talk a bit about the fees. We have tried to make the masterclasses as accessible as possible. So I think they are incredible value. I think they're only going to go up from here after this year. So for all three masterclasses in a bundle, which is what we recommend, unless there's only one you want to do, you're going to save £400 by signing up to all three of them. It's 797. We also have a payment plan for that. So it's £80 a month for 10 months. And that starts from the day that you sign up and join the course. So it just comes out once a month. For the 10 months, and then it will stop. Or if there's an individual course that you want to do on its own, you just want to take part in that course, it's £399 per masterclass. And the deadline to sign up to the bundle is by the 1st of October, which is when the first masterclass starts. We will share more about the other masterclasses later on as we get closer to them, and people can join individually for those. But I just highly recommend that everyone do all of them, because it's a lot more value for money for each class, and also they're all at a similar level. I mean, the Tiara one's a bit more involved and in depth, but they're all kind of, if you want to do one, you're probably gonna want to try the others too. And there are also things you can come back to. So if you get an order or commission in future and you think, oh, I've never really done the fishtail setting thing, but now someone wants me to do it, it's just something that will support you as you go through it all. I also think learning from all the different tutors is just going to be so valuable, and all the live supports and the advice they're going to share. So there's the payment plan. It's £80 a month. And there are limited spaces, so do make sure that you get in early to secure your space. I mean, we don't predict that it's going to be overrun, but we do want to keep the group quite small, because we want to make sure that everyone has time with the tutors and the mentors to ask what they need to ask. So that's kind of the run through. I think I've remembered everything. I'm sure Anna will come in if there's anything I forgot. And yeah, I'll just have a look and see if there are any questions, or if anyone has any now, feel free to share them. I can see Anna shared in the chat the link to the bundle and also to the individual class. So if you want to join them, get started. We'll be releasing tools and material list soon, so that you can order any bits and pieces before the class starts. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I guess that's the main thing we wanted to say. Becca says, oh, sorry, Anna, were you coming in?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, just go run through the questions, just because I know there's a bit of chat going on. It's hard to see them as you're going through. Laura asked if she could do the course while she was doing the advanced diploma, and I put a response, but you can also say whether you think that's correct. I said you could do that if you have the time to do both, because obviously the advanced diploma is already a lot to do. The masterclasses are designed as a kind of a follow-on from the advanced diploma. However, you likely have done collet setting, and in term one, you do pave setting. So in terms of your skill level, if you feel like you definitely want to go in and you don't want to wait, because we're thinking of planning to run it again next year for you, just jump in. I don't know if you want to say anything different, just say yes, but that was what I
Yeah,
said.
no, I think that's exactly right. I think for most, if you're juggling lots of things, and you've got the advanced diploma, and maybe you've got work and kids, and there's a lot on already, then there's no reason why you can't wait till next year and join us then. But I mean, I'm quite impatient, and if I see something I want to do and I feel like I can fit it in, yeah, then go for it. I mean, it's much lighter touch than the diplomas, because you have longer time to do it, and it's a bit more, it's more flexible, because some of you might spend just loads of time working on the project and just get really into it, and others might just have a couple of goes and then move on. So it's I think it's going to come down to personal preference. But like Anna said, we are definitely planning to run them next year. So if you're immersed in the advanced diploma and you feel like you've got enough to be getting on with, it's probably better to wait and join then. But if you've got spare time, then you'd be very welcome. Brilliant.
Yeah, and there is Becca's
Yeah.
question, which is right at the end as well. So Becca said, I've completed the fine diploma, yay! And I work at a jeweler's, and I didn't want to do the advanced as it was too full on to fit in with my own work. I think this is going to be a bit more manageable. So I think she's just asking
Hmm.
if that's okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I think for people who've done the fine, most things will be covered. Maybe just it's just having a look. So you've done castle, you've not done parve. I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be okay. It will be a step up. It will be challenging. But like you said, in terms of time commitments, the diplomas are a minimum of 7 hours a week. This doesn't have to be 7 hours a week. This is just whatever you want. I would recommend putting in at least a few hours a week, because otherwise it's going to be hard to get the projects done and get much value out of it. But absolutely, you'd be very welcome to join. And I think the main thing is, if you see the projects and you think, I just really want to do them, that determination. And as long as, for anyone, and I say this to myself when I'm making jewelry as well, as long as you're happy to make the mistakes, because I know that making these pieces, I will get them wrong a bunch of times before I get them right. And that's okay, and that's normal, and that's part of it. So I think if you want to do them, just go for it. And yeah, if you've done the fine, I feel confident that as long as you're also confident that you'll be all right with it, I think that would work. Time commitment is definitely less than a diploma. Brilliant. I'm just having a look. I don't think there's any other questions.
I think that's all. I answered a couple privately as
Thanks.
well. So
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for coming along. Obviously it's quite new, so we're just sort of sharing it with you now. Have a look, have a think. If you do have any other questions later on, you can always, drop us an email. I'm on Instagram as well. You can always just drop me a quick DM. But we're just excited to get started with them, and incredible jewelers, incredible projects. Can't wait to see what everyone makes with it. Wonderful. Thank you guys for all being here. Thank you, Anna, for coming and supporting as well. And have a wonderful weekend. And I'm sure I'll see you all very soon. All right. Bye for now.